On today's episode of the Late Night Date Night podcast, we talk a lot about what are the small things that we do for ourselves that help us show up as better people, better in our marriage, better mothers, father, friends, you name it. And it's oftentimes not the big things, it's these small decisions that help you become the person that you want to be and the mother that you want to show up as.
And just a little secret, it's not spending more time together.
No.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
There was a time in our relationship where I felt like I had so much resentment towards you. I expected you to solve all of my problems, when in reality, now that I'm on the other side of it, I know that you are just holding up a mirror towards me to the things that I needed to like recognize and do for myself. And, you know, some of those things that I've talked about on the podcast before are just, you know, us having the same conversation about me, like wanting to go to the gym, you know, prioritize and give myself time to like invest in myself. And that conversation just kind of hitting a brick wall. It wasn't until within the last year and a half where I actually started doing things for myself, where I feel like it's made me a stronger, better person in the way that I show up as a mom, as a wife, and as a friend, because I'm no longer pouring from like this sort of like empty cup. Just being able to go back to dance class, like I went to dance class last night, get to see the women that I used to dance with and like get that time for myself to like truly fill my soul. But then also, you know, the small commitments that I make to myself on a daily basis of like getting up and having my Bible time and having that quiet time to myself to like truly center and ground myself. And then, you know, going to the gym 4 days a week. Those small investments are like deposits in my own well-being that make me and help me show up as like a better version of myself. Yeah. And for the longest time, I thought that like that would do the opposite. And I didn't give myself permission to actually do those things for me. And so when we would constantly fight, I would just build up this incredible anger and resentment and frustration towards you.
I mean, I felt it, you being very angry and resentful, because I would go out and spend time with my friends on, you know, going out to Zion and going on these boys trips that I do every May, or going on snowboarding trips to, you know, heli ski down Telluride or skiing down in Chile. And I would come back and it was almost like I was met with a woman that I didn't even know. And I could feel, the moment I walked in the door, I would have my bags. And then there was also all of this emotional baggage that got thrown onto me that I didn't feel like was mine, but it was very prevalent in our marriage. What was the resentment?
I just wanted to be able to do those things for myself. And I felt like I was constantly, you know, running into a brick wall of like trying to prove that I was like worthy enough to have this time for myself. And I think when you were saying things of like, no, I don't have time, you know, to watch Luca in the morning, like I have to work. What I heard was that I'm not worthy of getting that time and therefore I shouldn't try another way. And so because I like basically formed that identity about myself that I'm not worthy of having this time, like I did nothing about it. I just believed what you said instead of like truly thinking that I am worthy of having this time to myself too. And so that just like kept me stuck. Like we would run into, you know, these walls of like you doing all these things and like planning these fun things for yourself. And like, I felt like I never got permission to go do those things myself and to like go spend the money on myself too. It just like drove me down into a big hole where I didn't.
Permission from me or permission from yourself?
Both.
I felt like I was pretty good about trying to get you to go do things and spend time with your friends, and I could be wrong, and if I am, you're more than welcome to correct. But I was pretty adamant about go spend time with your friends, go do things. I can watch the boys. And I mean, that's how it was when we first had our children, but it progressed into that fairly quickly when I recognized that my sole responsibility, which it felt like, was to ensure that you were happy. And that's on me for like taking on as like a role and responsibility. But I didn't know how else to do anything. And so I actually had resentment too, because I would go on these things and I would come back so happy and just like connected. And I felt like it made me a better husband, a better father, a better friend, like everything that you discussed. And then immediately it was like the air was just sucked out of all of that. And it was like you stripped away like this experience that I had because you wouldn't go out and do it on your own. And I started to build resentment towards you too, to the point where I was like, I don't even know if I want to go on these trips anymore. Like, I don't know that the emotional weight that comes along with it when I return was even worth it anymore. And I remember looking at you and I was like, I can't watch the boys in the morning because I have created responsibility for myself to provide for the family, which is true. And there was us trying to figure out different ways to support that. Mm-hmm. When you weren't doing those things for yourself, I mean, you are now, but when you weren't doing those things for yourself, what did you see? Like, how were you showing up as a mom? How are you showing up as a wife? Like, what did you recognize for yourself that you didn't like?
I was super irritable and just like frustrated when, you know, you would come home from like these trips. I would just be so angry and resentful that like you got time away and like you had no idea, you know, what I had been through for like the last weekend or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And it just felt like it was always me giving and never being able to like give back to myself.
So how come when I would encourage you to go do things, you wouldn't do them?
I think it was all rooted in my identity of like believing that I wasn't worthy, but also just wanting you to
Your
pitch
old
in.
Identity, not your current identity.
My old identity.
Yeah.
But I also think it was just like me wanting you to like step up as a father too, and like want to take responsibility and like spend time with, you know, our son at the time, to like be with him and like take that weight off of me instead of like me, I don't know, always having to like go pay a babysitter to get like a couple hours here or a couple hours there. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I felt the anger and the tension when I would come home. And I knew that for like deep down, it wasn't really about me, because I remember there's two moments that I remember. One, I came back and I was just like, well, she should go out and do a girls trip. And I remember offering to cover your airfare and your hotel and somebody else's for you to go on a trip, and you completely denied it. And I was like, well, there's only so much that I can do. And after that, it's really not up to me. And then there was a second time, right, where I went on a trip and I was just having a blast. And, you know, the anger from you on the phone, even though you tried to hide it, we're both not very good at hiding our emotions. I'd be on FaceTime with you and I would be getting text messages about all the shit that was going wrong in the house. And I'm like, in my mind, I was like, if you were gone, I would never do this. I would never complain to you about what was going on with the boys. Like, I would just handle it, right? And I would just deal with it so that you could enjoy your trip fully and you wouldn't have to worry about this. And it came to a spot where I realized that unless you made the decision for yourself, because I was open to it after a point, not at first, but I was open to it after a point. I was like, unless she makes a decision for herself, I'm not going to try to fix this problem. And I even convinced myself that it wasn't about you going on trips. It was actually about us just spending more time together. And I thought it meant, okay, if I go on these trips, then before I leave, I need to make sure that we have quality time together. There's a date night together. You know, I'm taking care of the groceries or the kids' lunches that week to really take all the stress off of you, so that when I went, there was a surplus of energy and less of a fuse in you, so that you could handle that long extension of me being gone. And then that didn't work. And I was like, well, what are we gonna do here? Because this obviously is not working. And I truly wasn't willing to give up those trips with my guys, because you've told me on many occasions about when I go on those trips.
That you're much happier.
I'm much happier. Mm-hmm. And how does that show up as me as a husband and a father?
You're a better one.
Yeah, it wasn't just about us spending time together. I think that was the breakthrough that we both had. Mm-hmm. It was a massive breakthrough. And it took a lot of you and I coming together and asking ourselves, well, if this isn't working, what do we want it to look like?
I would argue that we actually did need time together, because at the point when like this was all happening, I felt like you were working nonstop and then also going on your guys' trips. And so you were like just not around. And so I was very resentful, because I felt like I was pulling all of the weight at home and getting like nothing for myself. And so I did need time with you, because that is my love language of quality time. Like, I needed those deposits in our relationship to know that, like, you actually cared to spend some of your time back with me and back with our family, and like being the family that we actually created together.
It was hard for me to slow down. I've been so, my old identity, I was so wired to constantly being on the go that slowing down actually felt like I was falling behind. And, sitting at home or not doing anything on the weekend and having a slow weekend was like, it created so much anxiety and like energy that I couldn't maintain inside of me that I didn't know what to do with. And so I had to learn how to be able to spend time with you and be able to shut off my brain and disconnect from business and from work and just be fully present with you. And you're right, there was a season of life where it was like that. But over the last 18 months, 24 months, it's been radically different. We spent a lot of time together, to the point now where sometimes I don't want to go on the trip because I get so sad thinking about leaving you guys, because I love spending time with you. But you're right, it wasn't that way. But once we were able to kind of solidify that thing where, we were going on date nights and we were having quality time on the couch and we were having deep conversations and we were making memories with the kids by going on hikes or going to Costa Rica or taking them to Disney World or playing at the park. Once that foundation was set, the energy from you still hadn't shifted. It had shifted a little bit, right, to where like we were connected, but there still was this gap to me that it felt like you weren't fine. There wasn't like this liveliness and this joy inside of you that I had experienced when I first met you, when you were coming off dance and you had your own life before me.
Because I think at that point I wasn't prioritizing myself. I was still like learning, what are the type of things that like truly fill my cup and make me feel like a person and someone outside of just like being a mom. Not that being a mom is bad, but just another human being that has interests and desires and dreams, And so it just like I had to, make those small decisions to myself to like invest in my health and fitness and not feel bad about bringing the kids to the gym like a couple times a week. And then all of a sudden, I'm part of the Mom Co group at church and, those things. And now I'm like thinking about going on a women's retreat and then also going out to like Austin to dance with one of my friends out there. And so I think it just like I had to work on my own identity and also just not be afraid to take that leap to just make a decision and try it and go for it. Because I never did that really before.
I believe it's very important for couples to spend time apart, to have their own individual lives that they can then come back and be a part of a collective family. And for me, it's always been, it's the little things. It's going snowboarding with my friends. It's going mountain biking with my friends in the afternoon. And the bigger ones, going on those 2 trips, maybe even 3 with the fantasy football draft that is kind of hit or miss right now because we just can't seem to get the boys together. But those trips are really important for me because it allows me to go out and just be me without any responsibility. I don't have to worry about being a dad. I don't have to worry about being a husband. I think about those things. Like I'm not out there just like sending it off like massive jumps and cliffs or doing dumb things that would jeopardize, me being the husband and father that I want to be. And at the same time, I just completely get to disconnect, be a teenager and do dumb shit that guys do. Shooting guns, eating mushrooms, riding dirt bikes, canyoneering, swimming in a lake where we're just like sitting, or in a river where we're just sitting there like trying to trip each other and dunk each other. Like we're just acting like idiots. And it's such a massive release for me because it allows me to just reconnect with parts of me that I think is very easy to lose in the day-to-day of being an adult, between the responsibilities of being a dad and running and growing a business and showing up as a good husband, which are all things that I love doing. But there's also a piece of me where I'm just like, dude, I just want to throw it up and be like, fuck it. This weekend, I'm gonna do whatever I want. And it's really nice to have those. And I'm finally seeing you take some steps into doing this for yourself. Like, what are some of the things, I mean, I know them, I guess I'm just leading the witness here, but, what have you made a commitment to invest back in yourself and actually see yourself as worthy enough of going to do some of these things?
I think it's going to dance class, not being afraid to, look into a women's retreat for myself that is like outside of Colorado. And I also think that, sometimes it's just the small things, like just being at home sometimes to like be by myself or like go to a hotel for a night and just like be on my own time, my own clock, do whatever I want, not have to like be run or dictated. A schedule that we might have is like so overlooked, honestly. Like being able to wake up when I want, to go work out when I want, not have to answer to anyone. Of course, I'll call you and check in on the boys. But
our love language is different. If you didn't call me for a weekend, I'd be okay. Not that I don't love you. I'm not the same.
Yeah.
I'll see you when you get back. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very, very different love languages. You need a FaceTime in the morning and a FaceTime in the evening. And I'm fine with that. Like, I'm cool with that. That's what you need. To me, I could be like, hey, I'll see you on Sunday when I land. And I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
To each their own.
So you went to dance class last night. What did that do for you? Because like you came back and I remember, I'm sitting there, I'm working on the counter and you walk in and there's just like this lightness to you. What does that do for you when you get to go dance again? Because not only you're hanging with friends, but you're doing something that you're pretty good at. I mean, you're second place in this house to me, but you're pretty good at. What is that like?
Fills my soul, like dance has always been a part of me since I grew up. And I think going back to that place of something that I loved for so long is just a reminder of like who I am and like the fun that can come from that type of experience. And so it's just been like so important for me to just like fill my soul, fill my cup, like see the women that I used to dance with, get to hang out with them for a little bit and just like be reminded of who I am outside of being a mom.
Mm-hmm. Do you get to see contrast with those women? I mean, you've known them for a long time, but you've been doing a lot of work, right? Personally on yourself. I mean, you found God. You've been, going to church. You've become a mom. We've been very vocal about our trials in our marriage. Like, what are the conversations that you get to have with these women that are maybe showing you how far you've come?
I think Emily taught the class last night, and she said something like really powerful that I thought was like, so it's just like a really great golden nugget. Like when you go to dance class and when you've been out of it for a while, it's like a different type of muscle that you haven't exercised. And so sometimes it's just like not always there. When I was in dance, like I could learn a routine like so fast and know it right then, didn't mess it up at any time. And now it's almost like a humbling experience now because like that muscle memory is just not there. And so sometimes I like biff the whole end of the routine and like you just have to like laugh at yourself and not look at yourself as a failure, but like look at yourself in like the fun that you're having. And I think the golden nugget that she said was just like, sometimes we get in our heads and we think that because we knew each other like so long ago that we're like still those people, but like we're not. And we think that like these people are judging us when in reality, we're just here to have fun and like let loose and like, find our style. And like, that's what truly matters. And so I think that just like summarizes the whole experience for me.
There is something really powerful about being able to get around people that you've known for so long after a time of period has gone by. Mm-hmm. I see, my groups of friends twice a year, mm-hmm. and there's a little bit of overlap. There's only one person overlap, but it's really two distinct groups. And every time I see them, nobody's the same, right? Mm-hmm. Things have happened in their lives, or in their marriages, or in their work, and they've grown and evolved. And it creates a lot of contrast for you to see how far you've come. I remember about 2 years ago, we were out in Zion, and I had just made the decision to leave real estate and start coaching. I wasn't confident and certain in myself at all. Mm-hmm. I was really trying to emulate one of my coaches and try to just, I was really just taking what he said and regurgitating it because I hadn't found my voice yet. And I think that's very normal. My best friend, John Davis, talks about how in the beginning, every comedian sounds like their favorite comedian until they find their own voice and then they become their own comedian. And I think that was what was going on for me. But what happened was I felt like I wasn't secure enough in myself. My confidence for the first time had been really shook. And, as guys, our love language is talking shit. Like, we just talk shit to each other. We'll be there for one another. We'll have the serious conversations. We'll talk about the important stuff. But the majority of the time is us just poking fun at each other. And they were just doing their normal thing. And I remember just like, I just started crying. It might have been the acid, might have been the alcohol. I don't know, really. It was probably a combination of both. But I just remember, man, I just feel so exposed. And then I fast forwarded a year later and I showed up again. And, I'd finally taken the time to build this. And it was gaining some traction. I feel like I had found my voice and I wasn't truly trying to emulate, my old coach. And I was, finally stepping into my own. And to get the confirmation back from my buddy Nate and, from my buddy Dane and Forrest, and just being like, yeah, you seem like way more grounded in who you are. It was just very rewarding to know that the work that you do in the dark, right? Reading the Bible, going to the gym, meditating, journaling, all of these things slowly compound and you don't realize how much you change until you get back around somebody. And so those trips are so important to me on many levels. One, it's to provide contrast, just like you got at dance class. And then two, it's one of the chances where you really get to test your own limits because we're out there and we're rappelling 200-foot rappels into the middle of a canyon where if shit goes wrong, like it's not good. That feeling of aliveness is so great. And so coming back from that second trip, I felt just really connected to this group and connected to myself. And at the same time, I felt like I got a bunch of confirmations from just friends about the recognition of the work that I had done. Not that I need their approval, but it always feels good for somebody to be like, hey, I see you, you've done some work, keep going.
Sometimes we need that confirmation from, other people that we're on the right track.
Yeah.
And that like we're adding value. Because a lot of times I feel like we just don't see it.
I coach a lot of guys too who, they don't invest in themselves. They don't see the value in going on a guy's trip, or the relationship is in such disarray that if they do go on a trip, it actually creates more tension at the home. So I think the foundational piece is important, which you have to establish the home life first.
Yeah.
And then you can start to step out. And it doesn't have to happen in that order. I mean, sometimes the home's going to be in disarray and you're going to go on the trip and that'll actually help the marriage because you're getting perspective. Because that's the second piece of this. Yeah. I get to see all my guys and they have kids and they're in different seasons of life and different phases of life. And you get to hear how they think about different parts of life and you actually gain knowledge and wisdom from all of these dudes who are just rich with experience. And so I think that's a big part too, is like, it's not just about me going snowboarding and then playing quarters with my friends. It's the conversations on the chairlift. It's the conversations on the trailhead. It's the conversations when we're trying to go to sleep, but everybody's stoned and we're just laughing. Like that just make the entire experience what it is. And I think a brotherhood for guys is really, really important.
And I think, having some sort of community for women is important too, just so you can feel like yourself again, but also just be reminded of who you are outside of, just taking care of everyone else.
Because you're not just a mom, I'm not just a dad, we're not just husbands and wives, we're also friends and we're individuals. And if you're not careful, your world can get really small.
Yes.
I think we've experienced that over the last, 2 years. Our worlds got really small because I was traveling so much, and then last year was so focused on the business. And now finally I feel like we're truly expanding this. And I think the real expansion in any relationship isn't just inside of the relationship. It's the individuals expanding that then come back and expand the relationship as a whole.
Together, yeah.
I know about this, but I think this is really cool. Just like you finding your community in your women's retreat at the church.
Well, I felt this pull to get involved with within the Christian women community, or just with women that are kind of like-minded and share the same sort of values, but in real life. And going to the Momco has been really fun. I've met some new friends there. And just to be able to have the type of open and honest and raw conversations that we have at those types of events versus, like just small talk in passing, you know, when I'm dropping the boys off at school is just much different. And so like to be able to have those like true, like deep conversations with other women that just like get it and understand, I think just makes you feel like your struggle isn't as big as you think it is. And like there's always another woman like that's like reaching out her hand to like, you know, just like be with you.
Oh my God.
Places.
I laugh because for so long I was just like, Lizzie, please just go talk to other moms about what they're going through so that you don't feel like your problems are unique, right? You're not a bad mom. Our kids aren't insane. And just, I am so incredibly grateful that you've been courageous enough to step out into a community and have these deep conversations where you can actually hear from other women who have gone through what you've gone through or who are going through what you've already went through so that you can learn and you can lead. And I think that is incredible.
Yeah.
Because that, I hope you know this, that takes so much tension and pressure off of me to be everything for you at every given moment. Because you know this and I know this, and for those of you who don't, your significant other is not meant to be everything for you.
No.
It is not, that is not fair.
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, we are definitely in a very dependent relationship, but that's the past, you know? Like,
Yeah, I think you go through that when you find yourself in a place where maybe life is challenging, right? And you're going through changes, whether that's kids or getting married or having a miscarriage or like we're going through right now, trying to get pregnant. There's all of these things where, yeah, you are dependent on each other because you guys are going through a lot of things. But if we're not careful, this just becomes the echo chamber of our own brain. And we think that our problems are unique and then we isolate and they become unnecessarily big for no reason. Whereas when we start to talk to other women and we talk to other men, we start to realize that, bro, you're just, your kid shit on the carpet too. Yeah, mine did that too. Your kid talks back to you as well? Yeah, my kid told me he was gonna put me in the microwave. You know, and you're starting to realize like, I'm not in this by myself.
yeah.
You know? And I think being able to lean into communities where places where you're having fun and you get to be around people that you're having deep conversations with. I mean, man, spending time apart in that really has built our marriage to become like I'd say this is the best it's ever been. I feel like I said that at every podcast episode, but I truly feel like we are in a winning streak of life.
Yeah, it's been a nice little pocket, but I mean, we had to like go through those hardships and like work through our own stuff to like get to where we are now.
You know what my mom told me the other day?
What?
She goes, you know, when you and Lizzie were going through your stuff, I could tell. I never wanted to interject because I wanted to be respectful of it. She's like, but I could tell you guys were going through it and I didn't know what was going to happen. She's like, but I was so confident that it was going to work out either way. And then to see you guys actually work on it made me knew that you guys were going to make it. I don't think we give ourselves enough credit for how much work we've actually done, whether that was individual therapy and coaching and hard conversations and telling the truth and learning to fight and learning to speak the truth, even if the other person didn't like it. Like there are so many layers that we've unpacked and so many that we will continue to unpack. But I think the important thing in all of this is like, dude, we're not alone in what we're going through. Every guy thinks his wife is crazy at some point.
Yeah.
And every woman thinks her husband is a complete dickhead at some point. And it's not like we go here to gossip, but you go here to connect so that you can realize like, hey, I'm not alone.
It's definitely not what I think probably men think about, like women just getting together to like talk poorly about their husbands. Like that is not the case at all. You know,
I don't think we don't get together and talk shit about our wives either. But we do express things that are maybe challenging.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. Of course.
I think that's healthy. One of the big things for me right now that has made me really happy is just being able to have people that I see regularly. I think that was one of the things that I realized that I was missing in building a coaching company, was just being by myself all the time, whether that was in our basement in our office or in my office now up in Golden, where I was just always by myself. And one of the things that has been tremendously helpful for me is just to be around other people. And for me to recognize that, I don't know if you know this, I'm a little bit of an extrovert.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I need people, I get energy from people. And so when I wasn't getting it from them, I was trying to get it from you three, and you three just couldn't give it to me. And so then I'd be angry and frustrated and on edge. And I've personally felt a massive shift in me just being around people again.
We've felt that shift as well. You just, again, feel like lighter, and everything is not so serious, and you're not so like irritable with everything. And then like don't feel like I'm walking on eggshells trying to keep the boys quiet when you're downstairs on running a coaching call. And so just like not having that like dynamic in our house again has done like a lot of good for us. And it's such a small decision, to like be able to move your office and like start, working out with your friends in the morning. And like that's all it really takes. And like you're just like a different man now, which is like way more enjoyable to be around.
You're telling me that being an asshole isn't attractive?
No, it's not.
Okay, we'll wrap with this.
Yeah.
What is something that brings you happiness or joy that you do that I don't know about?
That I do?
Yeah.
Honestly, just like going to work out and like being able to like listen to my EDM music is like the best.
Yeah.
Or on Mondays and Tuesdays, like I don't have the boys with me, and so on the way from the gym, I get to like actually listen to my own music on the way home and like listen to it at whatever volume I want to. Is like such a small thing, but like such a big reward.
Yeah. Luke and I were listening to Eminem the other day on the way up to the mountain.
You were?
Yeah.
Oh
I put it up
gosh.
front and I would like mute it whenever Eminem was saying like shit he shouldn't be hearing. But it's all right.
Gosh, Sergio.
Yeah. Something that I do that you don't know about. All right, you ready for this? I love putting in a Zen, rolling down my windows, turning the AC on when it's warm, and listening to either country music or rap music and just belting it in the car. Even when I pull up to stoplight, I don't even stop. I'm just in it, right? Like I just feel like I got my sunglasses on. I'm just ripping whatever it is. The Zen's hitting, which that's a new vice because I gave up alcohol and everything else, and that's now my thing. And I am just loving life. Like the other day when I went to go get kava for dinner, you better believe that music was turned up to 11 and I was just sending it the whole way. I had so much fun. But I think it's those little things, and really like time away from each other, whether it's with your friends or just you doing small things for yourself, it really does change a marriage.
It does, for sure.
Yeah. So listen, for all of you guys out there watching, right, I would encourage you to really just to kind of take a step back, right, and ask yourselves, what are the things that make me happy, and how can I start to implement them into my life? A lot of times it's going to be a conversation with your wife or your husband and figuring out a schedule or figuring out an agreement so that you both can get time away from your home and each other, so that you can find yourself again and make sure that the person that your wife or husband fell in love with doesn't get lost, but more importantly, you don't fall out of love with yourself. So listen, if you like this episode, we would love for you to give us a review, 5 stars, leave a comment. If you hated it and think it's just complete trash, that's fine too, right? Tell us as well. Needless to say, if somebody else would find this useful, please send it to them. Follow my beautiful wife over here on Instagram, at Lizzi Ray. I'm at Sergio Nazaro. Until next time, take care. Peace.
Bye.